Hi, Mike.
Hello.
Thank you and welcome to the stage.
Thank you very much.
Excited to be here?
Yeah, I'm really excited, yeah.
Me too. So right now we're going to talk a bit about how we unlock the power of AI in procurement. So what inspired you to work in this intersection between AI and business development?
Yeah, so from very early on, I saw that AI will drastically impact the way we make decisions in life. And with my background in data analytics, as well as in other areas, I saw that this could be a good point to be within the forefront of how every procurement leader can now become more comfortable utilizing AI in order to be more strategic and really see real insights come from their documents or whether it's just from their interaction with others.
That makes such great sense. And what kind of excites you the most about the potential of AI in transforming procurement teams' workflow?
I think what's really exciting is that now procurement leaders will be very comfortable in dealing with technology that they're not familiar with. Because this is the first kind of technology that we've seen where it's really easy to interact with. And I think that confidence is really important to implement, because once people are no longer afraid of AI, then I think it'll be more strategic and more, not necessarily dependent, but more comfortable to let it facilitate them. Yeah.
I guess we just heard that it won't take our jobs yet. So
no, it will not take your jobs, everyone.
Yeah. I hear that you do like playing and listening to piano music. So what is the magic in piano in your opinion? And do you play for yourself, or is it just, are you part of some kind of orchestra or something?
No, I wish. That would be really nice. But no, in my early years, I was really interested in composition. So I was really fascinated with how music could be, generated different ways. So I got into lounge music. So I was pretty much performing in hotels, auctions, parties, and as well as did a 2-week composition course at Royal College of Music, learning about film music. So yeah, I was really just fascinated with how music brings out, the life in people. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
No worries.
So without ruining your presentation, if there is one key takeaway that you would like to share with the audience and the viewers just here before I leave the stage to you.
Yeah. So I think the key thing is AI is not here to replace jobs or people. AI is here to actually provide you with insights that you weren't familiar with in ways which are a lot more easier to digest. And I think the key thing here is to let AI be essentially your friend or your assistant, not necessarily a hindrance or potential another setback into making more strategic decisions. So it's here to supplement you. It's not here to, completely live your life. You are in full control of AI. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. This stage is yours.
Thank you so much. So, hi everyone, good afternoon. My name is Mike Nahimana. I'm really excited to be here today. And in this session, I'm going to be covering how procurement leaders just like yourself can effectively harness AI within procurement, all while taking you through a journey on how AI has come to be at this point. So the goal of this talk is to actually give you guys actionable advice on how to utilize AI and implement it in procurement. But to do this, we would need to go through the journey of AI. And also, in terms of best practices, what does AI adoption mean and how does that affect you guys in general? So 4 years ago, our co-founders, Charles Breck and Amber Actor, were really frustrated with how data was managed in contracts. So they decided to create a solution whereby procurement leaders like yourself are now able to extract insights from various types of documents, whether that is your purchase orders, invoices, contracts, MSAs, NDAs, scanned documents, the list goes on. Because by utilizing large language models, AI is now easily able to extract information from various types of documents without needing rigorous training or effort. And the reason why this is important is because imagine, as of now, there are teams in this world today within procurement who are dealing with 1,000 different types of documents, whether it's scanned or it's in PDF, and they have to deal with quick turnaround times in order to provide insights for their internal stakeholders or external stakeholders. This is no longer a problem right now, thanks to AI, especially generative AI. And I'm going to show you guys how that came to be the case as we start this journey. So a couple of decades ago, machine learning came through the scene, and it was really interesting what it did at the time. It essentially focused on inducing patterns from data. And what that means is that, for example, using line regression, suppliers can now be dealt with data that allows them to predict, to know, okay, who is most likely to be late with delivery times, who is more likely to breach terms and clauses. Thanks to that type of data, which is structured, which I think is a key point to mention here, procurement leaders are able to understand that during that time, okay, I know that this person is going to be most likely cause me a lot of grief at this period, or that person is most likely going to, breach some clauses and stuff like that. In hindsight, that seemed pretty good. However, there was a real issue. When use cases became more complex, machine learning really struggled to pave the way in bringing procurement leaders, real insight as to what's going on, especially when you are dealing with unstructured data. The second wave, which I think is really interesting, was deep learning. Now, this period, they wanted to take things a step further. They wanted to try and mimic how the brain was processing information. Deep learning essentially is a neural network within an architecture. So like as we humans, we receive an input, we let our neurons do the heavy lifting, and then we take an output. So if I see an animal, I know that's a dog. And that was essentially what deep learning was trying to do. Again, there were some real challenges that were dealt with deep learning. The first one, it being that it really did struggle with more complex use cases whereby you're utilizing data sources from different environments that are quite messy and really hard to manage. And some of the decisions were really interesting because there was a term at the time called black box, where you essentially look inside to try and justify to a supplier, okay, we flagged you as high risk, but we don't know how that came to be. So this was a real issue at the time. However, what also became a real challenge was how costly and how heavy lifting it was to actually manage deep learning. In terms of its computational resources, it was huge. In order for it to be useful, you needed huge data sets, constant training, which was not sustainable for any mid to large size enterprise. So this then paved the way to what we're seeing right now, which I think is the most exciting period, which is generative AI. Now, generative AI is really interesting because what it's done is it's finally broken through all of the previous challenges that earlier AI technologies were facing. So no longer does large language models need huge amounts of data in order for it to be sustainable, large data sets. From the get-go, you can start utilizing stuff like ChatGPT. Ask a question and it gives you an instant response. This seems quite easy, but a couple of decades ago, that was a real challenge to do. And other large language models like Cloud and Llama have all been pre-trained using online text from the internet. So that is literally how, when you are using ChatGPT, why is it so quick, so responsive? Is because its data set is pretty much the web, which is pretty impressive, right? But what you will notice is something which I've mentioned to others today, is that large language models can be fine-tuned to better understand certain types of text or task. So as some have said about AI agents, what you can do now with large language models is not just be as broad as you can be and say, I want an AI that does everything. You can actually now utilize AI technology to actually focus on one particular task. So I want to focus on this particular document or this particular interaction or this particular transaction. And I think for procurement leaders, this is really important to know, because what you don't want to do is to have a situation where you don't know how to manage this or interact with the AI. Instead, you want the AI to come to you and say, hey, this is what I do. How can I help? So for me personally, I believe that generative AI is not just a wave. I think it's an absolute transformative game changer. Because for the first time, we now have a technology that does not require extra training, additional training, or extra information in order to interact with certain formats. In terms of unstructured data, you can now essentially send an image, you can send a really messy spreadsheet, and it will be able to figure out what exactly you're looking for based on the prompts and text you send to the large language model. And the key thing, which I think procurement leaders would need to really focus on when dealing with any kind of AI technology, is how well can it deploy within my existing landscape? This is a crucial question that procurement leaders need to start asking more and more often is, okay, yeah, you've got this technology, but how does it interact and coexist with my current CLM or my e-portal or whatever? How do I actually integrate this and let it flow so that towards the latter stages, I don't feel any pain of having to go back and say, oh, let's do this again. Oh, why is this not working? And the great thing is that with large language models, you can create really easy APIs that can integrate within your workflows. Guys, it has never been easier to adopt AI. So the reason why generative AI works so well in procurement is because procurement works within every aspect of the business. So in terms of use cases, it's very horizontal. It is not limited only on contract compliance or a specific task like auditing. You can actually interact with other departments and utilize AI in order to make your lives a lot easier. So, for example, in KYC and compliance, you can be able to automate supplier and client onboarding for more, for questionnaire analysis. Or in supplier management, you can be able to do rebate analysis, contract audits, as well as be able to categorize spend, which I think is a real pain from what I've been hearing. And in finance, you are now able to, match invoices, fix errors. So the list goes on. And there are more and more use cases being found that procurement leaders realize that, I can actually use AI to help me do this. So in order to find, let's say you do find a use case and you say, all right, I want to improve my contract compliance and I want to utilize AI. One of the key things to notice to see whether AI is actually for you is to actually retrace your steps. Is to really open up the box and see where are we still continuing doing manual repetitive tasks. For example, does anyone in your team still receive a document, have to manually read that document, be able to key in the data and in a spreadsheet and create metadata, and then go back with alerts from emails and say, all right, do we need to opt out or opt in? All of these things, if you have noticed any of those things or heard of any of those things, that's where AI can come into play and support you guys. There are two questions which I think are really, really important. The first one is, what is the time and cost of solving those tasks manually? What is the opportunity cost of solving those tasks manually? Because it's all well and good talking about AI, but how do we actually justify it? Especially when you have one that's specifically tasked for one of your needs. How do you show ROI? How does it impact the business as a whole? And the only way you are able to justify something like AI integration is to be able to recognize and admit that, yes, we're still very manual. We're still, relying on periods of our day where we're under severe pressure and can't afford any more mistakes. And all of those fears and doubts in terms of the accuracy of your data is really important to go back and think, okay, where can AI help me support me with this? Now, one of the best practices for AI adoption is that you need to continue asking questions even after you implement AI. The first one being, does my AI require specialized expertise? Has my AI been fine-tuned on my task set? Can it be fine-tuned on additional data? The reason why this particular question is really important is because, like TextMine models, you can fine-tune it to only work on one specific task and be an expert on that task. So that the types of questions you continue to ask with multiple suppliers and when it comes to onboarding can easily be lifted off without relying on, constantly going back and saying, oh, you got it wrong, do this again. Now, in terms of security, that's another big factor right now within the AI industry. And as, OpenAI has come through, one quick question is, are you happy and willing to have your data sent to a third party? Because if you're not, then you would need an AI technology that's be able to coexist within your environment. And that's another key important question, which I hear often from procurement leaders, especially CPOs, on, okay, what's going on with this data? What's happening? Is it being used to train that OpenAI without our, willingness, or what's going on? Now, the final one, which I think is the best question to ask right now, is human or AI in the loop? Can a human review the outputs? Does AI augment existing workflows? This is a crucial question to ask your team, because what you don't want to do is have an AI agent or any AI technology and let it do its thing and just say, all right, go ahead. I'm sure you're going to get it right. What you want to continue doing is actually stay on top of AI and control AI and say, okay, I'll ask you this question. You didn't really get it. So let me just help you and teach you what it is that you need to do. This type of interaction will make you a lot more comfortable and confident in AI because you are now interacting with the technology rather than just saying, well, I'm sure it's done. Let me just throw it out and deploy it across the org. So what I hope to see amongst procurement leaders is that from utilizing AI, they will see less manual work. Repetitive tasks and manual tasks will be the thing of the past. More accurate data, better decision-making, and more impactful decisions. And then finally, more time to focus on more strategic decisions, such as ESG, compliance, and tariffs that we've heard briefly today. These are key components that I would love to hear more from procurement leaders, and less more on, we've got this ERP system, we need to revamp it. We've got this CLM system, we need to revamp it, but we don't know what to do with the data because it's hidden there and it's hidden there. What I would love to see is procurement leaders saying, man, AI has finally helped me be more strategic with which suppliers I should continue working with, or we've noticed this type of data we didn't know, or we can now be able to utilize this data to benefit the company. That's what AI can do for you. And guys, thank you so much for your time, and really enjoy being here on stage. And if you have any questions, feel free to speak with me afterwards. Thank you.